Hello, creature fans. It's time to do another ghoulish ghouler from your hostess, Sarah Stephenson, and her ghoulish ghouly friend, host, Mike. Just kidding, guys.
Yeah,
I'm just going through a bit of a Tales of the Crypt phase at the moment.
yeah, with that guy there. What's his name?
John. What's his name?
I don't know. You tell me his name. Yeah, the guy does the voice for the creepy guy who does the Tale of the Crypt intros. Hello, kiddies.
Yeah, just recently I asked him for a shout out for our podcast.
Yeah, he did a nice cameo. Yeah, really good.
So this is Boys and Ghouls film review, and as I said before, I am your host Sarah Stephenson.
And I'm the other one.
And this is Mike, my co-host.
I'm the good-looking one.
Yes.
See?
Yes. So tonight we're gonna review. Let me see, an independent film called "I Married a Vampire." That was made in 1987.
It's a comedy.
Well, not really.
horror.
No, it wasn't made in 1987. It was made in 1983 and
but released in. You're exactly right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, I got that wrong.
That post-production editing takes a long time.
True. Especially back in those days.
I was joking. It wouldn't take several years.
I know, but we don't know.
However.
Anyway, as I said before, this film it has not got too much media coverage.
Yeah, we haven't got heaps and heaps and heaps of information on it, but we'll do our best with what we have to make it an interesting podcast, as we try to do every time we take to the microphones.
Quite. Yeah. So who directs it, produces it,
I'll
and
go through all that
whatever.
sort of stuff. We got, now, the reason why I don't think it's a really great movie. I think it's not too bad for it. It's an independent, low-budget movie. But what inspires me the most about it is there's a guy called Jay Raskin who produced it, directed it, wrote it, and did the film editing, so the post-production work, all done by him. So he's really a hands-on guy trying his hardest to make a good product.
And as we often say, who says you can't do all of it?
Yeah. Now, he had an assistant, another producer, Vicky Prodomiu. I think it's the right pronunciation for her name. So she was the co-producer. Now, I can't find any other movies that they were involved with except a movie called Elektra. And I've got two dates on it. I got 1990 and 2011.
Maybe it came out later on.
Well, it doesn't say. So I presume it was made in 1990 but didn't get released till 2011. I don't know. But again, not enough information, cannot find it. But you'd think you'd have another go in between times. But anyway, irrespective. Now, I haven't got the list of everybody. They listed everybody who was involved, but I'll just go through the main ones. Now, there's a nice young lady who's playing the lead role. Rachel Golden plays Viola.
Yeah, it's an interesting name, don't you think, guys?
That sounds right out of a Shakespearean play, hey.
Yes. I think I do remember that one. It was from Twelfth Night, I think.
Yeah, Twelfth Night, yeah. Viola was the lead girl.
And you're going to hear a bit of Shakespeare here and there.
A little bit thrown in. Actually, if you have a look at some of the names in here. Now, Brendan Hickey plays Robespierre, who we later find out is a vampire, hence I Married a Vampire. Now, Ted Zalewski, I think it's the right name, plays a guy called Gluttonshire, like glutton, like in oink oink, I'm a little pig. Now, he's got an interesting part we'll talk about later on. Deborah Carroll played Olivia. Now, doesn't that actually sound like another 12th Night sort of name?
Yes. I think that was another. It was the other woman in the story.
Yeah, and along comes Temple Aaron playing Portia. Now I don't know if she was in 12th Night, but Portia
sounds like a car.
No, Portia. I think it was in the Merchant of Venice. So they took these names out of Shakespearean plays, by the sounds of it. Anyway. I won't go on. The other ones are bit actors and stuff.
Yeah, anyway. You get to hear the. I think there was one that was called Leachman.
Yeah, he's just playing. He's only playing solicitor. I mean, he's only got a bit part. So
Lawyer, yeah.
I'm not going to go into all those guys.
Okay.
And all the real estate guy. Okay, but
Yeah.
these are main ones. But what I will say, I can't. Apart from I think Ted Zalewski, I can't find any of these people here, these main stars, doing any other movie apart from this one.
Yeah, they just practically came and went.
Yeah, they sort of came in like a bunch of friends came together, made a movie, and then run away into the sunset. That was it. So, I mean, it is a shame to take the time to make a movie and say, okay, what I'll do next? I think I'll lay down and have a sleep now for the next 10 years. Whatever.
Yeah.
Anyway, do you want to go into the storyline and
Yes,
synopsis
might
or
as
whatever?
well.
Yeah.
So it begins with Viola's parents. They come wishing to see her and her hubby and husband.
She's recently got married.
Yes, and she tells them that, well, she doesn't exactly go into details about what he is or what he does for a living.
A living or a dying?
So anyway, she finally gets up the courage. Well, it doesn't really need to get up the courage.
Well, they're getting right up her nose,
Yes.
weren't they? So she said, okay, this is it.
And they were in a restaurant, and she said, "You want to know? You want to know? You definitely want to know? Okay, I'll blurt it out for you. I married a vampire," and almost a lot of people inside the restaurant kind of froze or freaked out or just looked like they were starstruck because this is not the conversation you hear in a restaurant very often.
I married a vampire.
And this kind of...
Okay.
Yes, anyway, soon enough, she was tempted to take them back to the airport and they can go back to wherever they came from.
Wasn't he going to drive in the bay as well?
Yeah, there was that thought that came across.
You have a choice. Drive the car in the river now or drown it. I'll drown you.
Yeah.
Great parents.
Yeah, and despite what IMDb says, they're not abusive parents. They're more like
Weird.
a weird... self-obsessed parents.
Yeah,
you know?
self-opinionated. You're not cold towards her, dominating, but no love. That sort of that sort of stuff.
Just have no idea.
Yeah, and don't believe what the daughter says and try to control her. And that's why she's such a naive little girl.
Yeah. So anyway, should we dive into a flashback in this scene where she talks about how she met her vampire boyfriend and all that?
Once upon a time.
Yeah. She starts way to the beginning, how she came out to the city, seeing as she left her home after working in as a cashier at a supermarket at her hometown, and she raised enough money to go out into the city, and somehow things go from difficult to worse.
I think this expresses from bad to worse.
Yeah, well, bad from to worse.
Yes.
She goes to a real estate guy, and he offers her a place that's for $300 a month.
Which I wouldn't have my cat in.
Yes.
It was terrible.
And the place is run down, like ready for the wrecking ball, in other words.
Pretty much. And they said, "Oh, yeah, I've got a queue of people waiting for this place." And so she got suckered in.
Yes, she did, and she bought it full stop, and there's a lot of it's right next door to a music club.
Yeah. And every time they use up too much water downstairs, she gets no plumbing upstairs. Really good.
Yeah, and she meets Portia.
And too noisy.
And she meets Portia, the another girl living there.
Next door neighbour or upstairs or downstairs or something.
And they began a friendship of sorts.
Of sorts.
Yeah, and along the lines, when they bought a stereo for Viola to play records and stuff.
The story, Portia taught her into buying this really expensive stereo instead of the cheap and nasty.
I think it was either $300 or $500.
Oh, I think it was $500, wasn't it? Yeah, I think it's $500.
Yeah, so it was roughly that.
Yeah, it's a skinny budget too.
Yeah, very skinny. Like not. She just only had only a little bit of a small budget.
She doesn't have a job yet.
No.
Anyway.
So anyway, she buys the stereo, and then the next time we see it, it gets Portia's missing.
And Portia's stole it and hocked it for $50 or something or other.
Yeah.
Hello.
Yes.
What are friends for, hey?
Yes. Eventually, being fed up about being in the stupid apartment thing, she decides to go to a lawyer who cheats her.
Yeah, he takes her money and does absolutely nothing. So she can't get out of her rental agreement
Yeah.
for the contract.
And she tries looking for jobs, and they're not. Well, you know what it's like
Get
in the city.
knocked back.
You know what it's like in the city, guys. You've probably seen it. What it's like. A lot of jobs get taken off your hands, and you don't get to be able to find another job or be able to get
She
any.
wasn't even given a chance to get a job. Yeah.
So anyway, she then meets one of those, what they call it, Jehovah Witness guy. Creeps.
No, not a Jehovah's Witness. A cult religious person.
Okay, a cult
It
religious
wasn't
person.
Jehovah's Witnesses.
Okay.
Yeah, a cult.
A cult
guy.
weird guy
religious cult.
who offers her to be part of their cult,
Yeah.
and by signing a money agreement. You know those stupid idiots
You
out
go
there.
for a free course or free seminar or whatever, and when you get there, they drag you in and say, hey, now for another $500 or whatever, give us a check for that and we'll give you the full course.
Yeah.
You know, and she
And even
signed
after
up.
he said it was free.
It was free, but
Yeah.
that was the initial chit-chat was free.
Yes, so
She got roped in. Hey, how many
Yeah.
of you guys have been roped into something similar over the years?
soon enough, she takes it a step further by meeting a man on the streets and offers him to come to her house to.
And she thinks she's invincible because she has God on her side.
And
Because
then
of stupid religion.
yeah, and eventually he rapes her. The
Yeah,
poor thing.
and then he gives her a job. Hey, what a nice man.
Yeah, he gives her a job as a janitor or.
Yes, like your clothes,
Yeah.
you clean floors and stuff.
Yeah,
And,
and she
clean
works
it,
with
yeah.
a nice other girl. I don't know what's her name. Olivia?
I can't remember. Olivia, I think.
Yeah,
I think it's
so.
Olivia. Yeah.
So she sort of guides her into learning how to clean in certain areas,
Yeah.
and she even. There was even a scene when they were having a break. She was eating some red type of yogurt.
Yeah.
Yes, and
One's funny that, hey?
and she mentions how it was made by her brother Robespierre.
Robespierre.
And she says jokes that Robespierre says he is lives up to
60 years
years
old.
old.
She thinks they're joking.
Yes. Eventually, she and Olivia, they go down to the cinema. They try to watch watch a horror movie.
They think it was a cult movie for funny name, but no, it was really a horror movie.
Yeah.
Actually, a double feature. Hey, good value.
Yes. So they eventually go back to Olivia's house, and her brother's there, and he's nice but withdrawn, obviously.
Yes.
And
He's a
and
very nice man.
of course his sister says that he has a blood disorder
And she starts to get an idea, blood disorder. Oh, wait a minute.
and broken mirrors because
broken
there was a
mirror,
broken
yeah.
mirror in their bathroom.
And stuff. He's a vampire.
Yeah.
So she runs out the door.
Yeah, even though there's not enough proof. I mean, I've been to people's places, and sometimes the mirrors are smashed for gosh knows reason.
Well, if I looked in a mirror, it'd probably smash itself.
True.
Yeah.
So anyway, she dashes out, and eventually she meets up with Portia again, and this time she steals some computer software from the very place that Viola was working
Yeah, a
in.
little portable hand computer. Yeah. Worth about $1,200 or something, rather.
Yeah, something roughly.
Yeah.
And
that seemed a lot for one of those
and
guys. Yeah.
the guy in charge, who was the guy who raped her, I should say.
Yeah, Mr.
He-
Gluttonshire.
Yeah, he wants them to pay it back, or they'll be in big trouble.
Or she'd have to work it off, working cheaper, or docker pay, something or other. Yeah,
Yeah, you guessed it. So eventually, Portia doesn't help. She just says that she just sold it for for
$50.
50
Or
bucks.
something. $80.
not
whatever.
knowing its value whatsoever.
Yeah. What are friends for?
Yes. Eventually, when Viola comes back to her apartment, she's locked out, meaning she didn't pay the rent or whatever.
That rent left. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm.
And eventually,
it.
she has only one place left to go to.
Went back to Olivia's place.
Yes.
Oh, isn't that
Of
nice?
course, Olivia is not there because while she was working at the man's building, she's remarking a couple times that she was leaving to go off to Europe in Hungary.
Going back home to Hungary, Transylvanian Alps and the like.
Yeah, so she's left to talk to Robespierre about her problems and how she wants to take her life.
And they sort of warm to each other, don't they?
Yeah, he was very poetic.
Yeah, he likes talking Shakespeare type stuff, and he knows the works of Shakespeare. And actually, if he hadn't gotten any older, he would have known Shakespeare. But anyway,
Probably does.
But he starts reciting Shakespeare, and then she joins in saying the same part of the poem or the play, and so they both had a common interest, didn't they?
Yeah, and he then reveals his dark side to himself, that he needs fresh blood in him or he'll die.
Yeah.
And eventually, he tells her to go and tries to, and she flees at one point. But a few seconds later, she comes back and says that everyone's taken a bit of her away from her, her hope, her belief, her body, and what was left of it is her life.
And he could have it.
Yes.
Isn't that nice?
Yes.
That's what I call sharing.
Yes, and this is where they start their revenge plan.
So he helps her get revenge.
Yes.
But he tarts her up a little bit because you see, up until now she's been mousy and your clothing style hasn't been much and stuff. He gets her up and he does her head a bit differently, bit of makeup, nice black dress, and it's starting to look reasonably good. Yeah.
Yes. So anyway, they eventually go through the list of people who caused her pain and stuff. The first ones are the religious cult guys.
Yeah.
And they got their justice. Eventually, she nearly runs away, but then she comes back to take more revenge on the other people. Like
Robespierre had stopped for a quick bite.
Yeah, and it sounds like a Slurpee when he shrinks up.
Yeah, here we go.
Like,
I mean, was he empty, was he?
And you don't see any fangs in this?
No, really, they could have actually spent a few dollars. They've got some cheap stick-on fangs you get from the novelty houses.
Yes.
Hello, guys.
Yes, true. So eventually, he goes to I think it's the lawyer next.
The lawyer next? Yeah, I think so, yeah.
And he pretends to be the real estate guy, and he, of course, the lawyer says, pay me $500 and I'll try to get her off your back.
Yeah.
Meaning that's the same amount that he asked Viola to give.
And every time he says, I'll give you that, he doesn't do anything for the money. So,
I wouldn't be surprised he's a swindler or shark.
So Robespierre
he gets
has afternoon tea.
Yes. And then the next one is the I think it's
the estate agent.
The state agent, whom we find out in a phone call that he's actually, he's made her like Viola's apartment so expensive because he wants her out of there so he could sell the place to wealthy land dealers.
Well, there you go then.
Yes, and it probably explains why no.
However,
and anyway, they do come there, and he eventually, at one point, in this movie, they were about to do something bad, but then Viola says, "I don't want any trouble. I just want my money and my things."
So he gave her the keys when he went and got stuff out of the apartment stuff.
Not quite. Remember, he gets the keys out, and he takes, he knocks down Robespierre, and.
Oh, that's right.
And
yeah.
then,
Sorry.
but eventually Robespierre comes up and attacks him.
And it was dinner.
Yes.
Yeah, they had breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Yeah,
yes, and the next one on the chopping block is the businessman who took advantage of
Mr.
Viola.
Gluttonshire.
Yes.
Or Shear, or whatever.
Yes, unfortunately, this
Sheer
time
Glutton,
it's not Robespierre that bites him or kills him. It's the other way around. Viola does the killing.
She has a go. See?
Of course, we don't see it. We just see her advancing on him and plunging her teeth.
He doesn't yet. Robespierre holds him for her.
Yeah, meaning she's now probably become a vampire too, maybe.
So she had a bit of a nibble.
Yes, and we're left with Portia. No, they're not gonna. They're not gonna kill her. Just so you guys know, they're not like that.
No.
So, but Robespierre kind of uses hypnotism on her and tell her to not to lie and cheat off her friends anymore.
And don't steal from them. Hello.
Yes. And after that, she's She's a lot more nicer then.
Yeah, and they said we're going to get married.
And she asks Portia to come as a witness.
Lovely.
And of course, after the wedding, they go to the movies.
Why not? What's showing? What, the vampire?
And eventually, after that, we flash back to the present, and her mother, dad, they just let off.
They're peeing themselves laughing. They think she's full of crap.
Yeah, they just
Sorry
laughed
about the
and
language,
laughed
but
and laughed.
you gotta be joking.
But she says, "I want you to meet him in a weird tone." And we kind of have a funny feeling what's going to happen next.
They're going to be invited home for dinner, but they're not getting any dinner.
Yes, in this case, they eventually come to the house, and they keep making up excuses that they'll just go to a hotel and they'll meet their son-in-law tomorrow in the morning.
In the light of day. But that's one thing. He comes out in the daytime. This guy, he's not restricted to night work.
Yes. So anyway, they walk inside the house, and that's the last time we see them.
The camera doesn't go inside, but you hear a couple of screams and stuff, like Mum and Dad having a not-so-good time meeting Robespierre.
Yeah, and the end.
Yay! All the bad people got killed. Now, let's get into some serious stuff in this movie.
Yes.
And I'm not going to bag it. Again, we've said before, we're not trolls.
Yeah. Last night we were discussing... In Rotten Tomatoes, there was only one reviewer that talked about this movie, and they...
and actually, surprisingly, it wasn't that bad.
Yeah.
They didn't say it was great. I mean, Rotten Tomatoes actually said it was a low-budget independent movie, and they didn't bag it too much, which is not too bad. But I think one of the viewers' reviews wasn't very nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, so on. So, yeah, I mean...
Yeah, I mean, I just mean that in Rotten Tomato, it was down to a 0.
Yeah, it wasn't that bad.
Yeah.
Anyway, look, what I was going to say, look...
That's even worse than being unknown when you think about it.
This is not a mainstream movie. It's an independent movie done on a really skinny budget. Okay? Now, the point is, yes, I feel they could have done a tad better with it. Yeah, I mean... Just because it's cheap doesn't mean it's got to come over unpolished. Is that the word I'm looking for?
I think it's the word.
It looks like it was like, I wouldn't say, how do you put it? It came over almost like, I wouldn't say a student film, because some student films are better than this.
I do think it seems like a student film almost.
No, yeah, but some student films are better than this.
True.
But let's say it's like a student film, but not a very good student film. And considering this is done in the 80s, it came out to be like something was done in the 50s or 60s.
Yeah, and just so you guys know, way to the end of the movie, it mentions something about Full Moon Productions. Don't mistake this for Full Moon Features, or, that was responsible for Puppet Master or Tourist Trap or Demented Toys.
Yeah.
Do not confuse it with that one. It's not. They're different.
It doesn't say Full Moon 2 or something or other in the name.
No, it just said Full Moon Productions.
I thought it had 2 after it. Like two eyes. Yeah. Anyway, irrespective. What can I say about it? Look, it had the possibilities of being a better movie. It didn't. The sets weren't too bad. It didn't need to be big splashy sets. The sound quality was terrible.
But then again, a lot of movies before this one, like the ones that became cult classics nowadays, may have had very bad audio, and they go on to become well-known horror classics over the years.
I've seen other budget movies done with a better soundtrack. I mean, you'd hear the furniture being moved, and it was too loud. It was drowning out the voices in some bits. The top end of the EQ spectrum wasn't even noticeable. So whether they've actually filled it down to get rid of background noise, I don't know. So I wouldn't say it was muffled, but it wasn't very clear in some parts. So, I mean, it was like a really crappy old 60s movie, the way it was actually put together. audio-wise. I mean, with the technology they would have had in the 80s, it would have been a tad better, you'd think. Yeah.
Maybe.
I mean,
Again, I often think
but
this
they could
was.
have been limited by the equipment they had.
I also think this was this movie was made to boost some local bands in the area.
Well, I don't know.
Because there was a lot of music in this movie, and well, not a lot of music, just some music, and I think it was sort of a way for them to further promote their business.
Well, I don't know. They didn't get a big accreditation. They mentioned the name of the band, but I don't know if it's a real band or just made up for the movie. So I don't know. They weren't. They weren't a major part of it. They didn't talk to the band. Didn't interact with the band. They're just playing on stage at the club, and I think did one of the guys start hitting the girl? Was he a band member or somebody?
Just
a patron at the club.
Patron is the word for it.
So the band was really in the background playing some really crappy music.
Yeah.
It wasn't good. I used to be a musician. This was crap. I'm sorry.
Well, that's what my theory is, that they probably had them on board as a bit of a...
They could have been friends. Actually, that's the gut feeling I get from the whole lot of this. They were a bunch of well-meaning individuals who weren't actors and stuff and got together to do a movie. And considering that was possibly the case, they weren't actors and they're on a shoestring budget, they did a reasonably good job for lack of experience. How's that?
I think they were actors, and because
well,
I
can't
think
find anything on anybody.
I think they were mostly theatre actors that were hired
But you try to find information on the internet. There's not even an internet page saying, "Hey, I'm an actor."
True.
It says nothing. I just say most of them just disappeared and done nothing. For about one of them, I don't know what happened to them. So I really don't know.
True. It is a bit of a drag that they didn't bother to pay. At least get some vampire fangs to make it look more
even some cheap ones from the novelty shop would be nice, but but no, they chose not to.
I don't know how
They
expensive.
show their own pearly whites.
But then again, this was back in the 80s, and I don't know how expensive or how available those ones that could stick on just your canine teeth would be.
Well, they might not have had those, but even if you had some cheapies, you can cut them down, bung them on, put some chewing gum in to hold them, and have a quick there. Don't flash them too hard and look like got fangs. Something. But yeah, a few little things like that. I mean,
or even get some contact lenses to make it bloodshot.
Then you talk about big budget stuff.
Okay.
You got to spend more money getting the contact lenses, and some people's eyes don't take readily to contact lenses and stuff, and blah blah, and you get infections maybe. So but so look, irrespective, for an independent with, I would say, little to no money. I don't know how much they had budget wise.
That's another thing about this movie. We don't have enough information about it.
And I don't know how it was released. I know you can get it on DVD.
You can get it on DVD, and you can get it on video or VCR, whatever they call them.
No, video, that's old stuff. Yeah, but probably, you can get it from Amazon anyway.
Yeah, so you can get it on DVD if you want to.
Yeah.
That's what we're saying.
Yeah. I mean, if you want to. No, that's a bit rude. Look, if you don't mind a movie which feels like a B-grade movie from the 50s or 60s, it falls in that sort of category.
Yeah, and if you're not looking too much into gore and stuff...
Yeah, it's interesting. There was no gore.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
You hear about in the old movies, they'd say, "Oh, I'm going to beat you up, blah, blah," and then all of a sudden you cut the next scene and you say, "Oh, someone's dead."
Yeah.
Well, it's a bit like that.
Yeah,
You don't see too much. Yeah.
Another thing about this movie, not comparing two movies with one all the same, this movie is a lot more better than The Room. Mike told me about The Room, and it doesn't sound very appetizing.
No, there's a problem. I mean, I have looked at the Room, and that guy, Tommy Wiseau, whatever, he spent so much money on that movie, and he made bugger all out of it. And the only reason why it's still known now is he has a little cult following, and a lot of people, teachers, hold up saying this is how you don't make a movie. And so people talk about him, which means he's becoming popular for all the wrong reasons. And actually, if you look at his website, or where you got comments about it on the internet, the people who are reviewing it saying it's great, most of it's cut and paste. They're not even actually just, different people's comments. So they've got to be coming from his followers, and they say, "Oh, it's a really funny movie." It's not. It wasn't made as a funny movie. It was made as a serious movie, but it's so bad it's come over as funny. So how can it be a good if it didn't meet its criteria?
Yeah. So anyway,
So anyway, forget the room. We're not doing the room.
No. Anyway, I did like the fact that I wouldn't mind if it was the vampire bit would have gone a little bit more solid. I mean, it was just like when she said that she found figured out the broken mirror, blood transfusions.
They could have done so much more with those sort of bits. You know,
I mean,
didn't even need a jump scare, just something a bit more dramatic.
Yes,
And it just so
at least something
fell
like
flat.
sounds like a stalker. Nah, I don't think that would work.
It didn't feel. There was no suspense.
No.
There was no atmosphere. Was atmosphere? Would you say?
Atmosphere.
Didn't display any atmosphere.
Yeah,
It just didn't
it was
feel
just
anything.
it was just taking it word that he's pretty much a vampire.
Oh, I'm a vampire. Oh, very well.
Yeah.
And that's it.
It's just like if you were
Had a
going
shock
to.
horror.
It was like if you were going to a one of those clubs, gothic clubs, and you feel like that there are vampires amongst you, all that stuff.
And there probably is if you go to one of those gothic clubs. I've met some really weird people at those. Yeah.
Yes. So anyway,
Actually, that's a good movie. The Monster Club. Now it's a good movie. We should review.
well, we'll look into that.
Yeah. They got werewolves and vampires and ghouls and
Yeah, I thought that was pretty cool.
really good. I like that one.
Yes. So anyway, I wouldn't mind, but then again, I think the reviewer did say in that when we were looking at Rotten Tomatoes, did say that this was more, if not less, focused on the vampire side to this movie. This is more about a girl who's dealing with the depressions of living away from home.
Yeah, a naive girl going to the big city and being steamrolled by everybody around her. That sort of stuff. Yeah. So it's basically on that sort of theme, and the vampire was just thrown in as an extra.
Yeah. Because she was looking for someone to turn to, and
the only one she got that was from Dead Guy.
Yeah.
Look at that,
Bugger it right. Yeah, so I wish I could think of other things to say about this movie. I just can't think of anything on the top of my head.
Again, I'm going to try and say it before. I mean, they had the hallmarks. It had all the things to make it a good movie if it was done a bit better. Now, I'm not knocking Jay Raskin, okay? However,
All right.
if this is his first chance at making a movie, he hasn't done anything before.
Yeah, and I haven't heard from him since.
I'm going to say not a bad job for someone who hasn't done one before, because I can't find anything on him prior to this saying, I did some assistant director or anything else.
Yeah.
I can't find things. So this might be his first go. And if it's his first go...
First and last movie.
No, he did another one, that Elektra movie.
Okay, I'm mistaken.
But the point is, he gave it a go with a limited budget and probably limited equipment and still made a movie.
Yeah.
Now, I take my hat off to people who get up and give it a go. I don't care how good or bad the end result is. But he gave it a go. And that's the main point. Look at Ed Wood. He's my hero. Now, everyone goes, oh, Ed Wood. But look at him. The guy wanted to make movies with a passion. He is limited by, he couldn't get the finances to make a good movie.
Yeah, and he couldn't get the right actors.
And he couldn't get decent actors because he couldn't pay anybody. So he was limited by so many things. But he used to produce, direct, write, everything else.
The only other actor who had acting talent was Bela Lugosi.
Yeah, and he was almost dead when he started working with him. He's an old man. So these guys who've got the passion to do it. But what happened to Raskin? He makes a movie, and then so many years later, I might get into another one, and then you don't hear anything.
I remember where's
your passion, Mr. Raskin?
Yeah, it's just like when you look at the guy who made Sleepaway Camp. He did one movie, and he handed it over to someone who worked with him to do the sequels.
Yeah, why?
And then years later,
it wasn't a bad movie.
And then years later, say 20 years later, he comes back and does a sequel.
Yeah, why? He should have done it earlier. Yeah, whatever.
Well,
I mean, you can't just say it can't be all about the money.
true.
If
Anyway,
you had a good movie to start with, there's your show reel. I have got a product I have made. See, I need some more money to make a sequel. So, not a bad movie. People might invest in it. But
maybe he wasn't too much committed into just filmmaking, making it into a career, if you will.
Well, but why make it in the first place then? It's like, I'm going to go to work one day and have a go. Didn't like it. I won't work again. Hello. Make your mind up. Remember, is it Yoda or Bruce Lee said, "Do or do not. There is no try." Was that Yoda or Bruce Lee?
Yoda.
Okay. Now, good words of wisdom from Yoda. Do or do not. There is no try. So just do it. Don't play games with it. Don't stand on the outside and put your toe in the water and say, and run away. Have a go. Jump in both feet and run with it. We need some new life in the film industry. We're not getting it. And the old guys are getting older, and they're going to drop off the planet. Then some of the new guys aren't that good. We need some fresh blood.
Quite.
So, and talk about vampire movies, we need a lot of fresh blood.
Yeah, I've been talking to a lot of, fresh, awesome independent filmmakers. For to do some interviews with them.
Anna Bueller,
and
she's inspiring.
What's his name? Who does Never Hike Alone? What's his name?
I can't remember. You did all the thing. You did the reviews on me.
Sorry about this. I hate
resulting anyway,
guesswork.
But did it? He wrote it, produced it, and the actor did it. Was he or that guy?
Yeah.
Yeah, and it wasn't a bad movie. There's these up and coming independents have got a lot to give to the industry. Yeah. And if someone gives you a slap on the wrist, say I don't like it very much, well, that's only one person.
Yes.
How many millions or billions of people are in the world? Hello, yeah. Whatever.
I also made friends with the people who did Chastity Bite too.
Yeah, or something, and Lottie, was it
John and Lottie,
something or other.
No.
Knowles. Knowles, yeah.
Yeah,
that's right, Knowles.
They're a bunch of nice people.
Yeah. And that, what's her name, Alison Scaglotti? She's really cool. She would have been a good Daria.
Yeah.
What's the matter? Knowles.
Yes.
That's Knowles. I remember the name.
Just confirming it with him.
Knowles. No, Knowles. Solid K. But Alison Scagliotti, now she played a good lead in that role. But she would have been a great Daria if they ever made a Daria movie. My hero, Daria.
Yeah, so I can't think of anything else on top of my head about this movie, sadly enough. I wish I did.
No, we don't have enough. We got no budget stuff. We don't know about how it hit the media streams or theatrical releases or anything.
And I don't know if too many people out there even heard of it, let alone watched it.
Well, that's the whole point. That's one of the reasons why we're reviewing it, because we don't always review things that everybody knows. We review things that we like, and some things are well known. Some things are lesser known, and in case of this, it's bloody well unknown because probably no one's seen it. So have a look. I mean, it's not a bad movie. If remember, like you go to the old B-grade 50s and 60s movies, to me it falls in that category. And if you're happy with that sort of movie, have a watch for it. Make up your own mind. I can't give it a big score because there's a few things which didn't work for me.
Yeah, I mean, it makes me think of another independent film that went directly, probably to television. I think it was called what's it called? Pale Blood.
Which one?
Pale Blood or Pale Blooded. I'm not sure.
I don't know that one.
That one's mostly about a vampire who's a policeman who tries to solve a case of some missing girls getting drained of blood, and he goes out and tries to solve the case with an assistant.
Speaking of policemen, that was a vampire one where that vampire lady goes after all the criminals, and the policeman helps her in the end. That one, the pretty little vampire girl, and she hits on the mob.
That would be Innocent Blood, I think.
Innocent Blood?
Yeah.
Yeah, we might do that one day. That's a good movie. That's fun.
I agree. And it has a good selection of cast members.
Yeah, some well-known people in it, and it's really well done, and it's a different take on vampires. I mean, she's a nice girl.
Yeah.
The sort of girl you take home to meet mum and dad. but she happens to be a vampire. But she only kills
But I
criminals.
do like the idea of the angle of supernatural meets severe, police cop stuff.
Yeah. Actually, I think there was a movie made about werewolves in police uniforms. Or, the police, some sort of police show where I think the police were actually werewolves, and they used to, go hunting at night
Yeah,
for
but
criminals.
anyway, I don't know
I'm
if
going to take that movie up.
I haven't come up with it other than that Innocent Blood movie. I haven't found any other cop-related supernatural movie that came radically close to being that good.
There's got to be some. Actually,
I think that most of them I have seen, they kind of take it to more of a pornography level.
Yeah, we don't want that sort of crap. No.
Yeah, that's the difference between trying to find the right movies and the wrong movies.
So I don't mind nudity in a movie as long as it's relevant to the movie. I don't want to watch a movie which is all there's bunch of sex in it because we want to get the mix right. We need some sex, we need some drugs, we need some rock and roll. No, it's got to be part of the storyline. If someone's going to go to bed and make love to somebody, and it's part of the storyline, it's okay to see someone in bed. It's, filmed in a nice sort of a way. You're not sort of showing everything necessarily, but if you don't need to have it in there, don't put it in. You don't really need it. Do you have to see someone go to the toilet? We know everybody goes several times a day, but do we see people going to the toilet all the way through the movie?
No.
So you don't have to see everything all the time. Yeah, it's a given. Okay, they're going to go to bed and have sex. That's fine. Okay, fine.
So,
in the morning, having a cigarette, doing bacon and eggs. That sort of stuff.
Yeah. So a lot of those movies, they fall under either I think they come on during the late hour when you watch it. Like say if you guys are night owls or not, and you prefer
I'm a night owl.
and you would watch a movie that's at 12 o'clock at night.
I do.
No, he doesn't.
I go to bed about 2 or 2:30 in the morning.
Yeah, watching unexplained Ghost Adventures.
No, I do. I've done them. I've done Ghost Adventures with Zach
watch,
and the boys.
You don't watch what I'm referring to most of them, like.
Yeah, I watch movies sometimes, but
Not those type of movies.
No, I try to find real things like Ghost Adventures, real ones. Zach Baggins and the other guys. Yeah.
Yes.
Nick Groth and what's the other guy? I can't remember. Yeah.
Yeah. So most of the time, that's the sort of material, and as I said before, it's a lot harder to define which ones that are worth watching and which ones you don't want to watch.
Yeah, we want a decent storyline. I mean, that's what I like about a lot of movies, and what I don't like about some movies. I like a good storyline as well as the action and the gore and everything else.
You're going to find also that
you need a storyline.
You're also going to find that in this vampire movie, all the scenes where the vampire sucks the blood sounds like a Slurpee.
Yeah, like a milkshake. And then the last bit, I've got to get the last little bit.
Like if you're sucking milk through a straw, is what I'm talking about.
Yeah, well, I just said the milkshake. I just said that. Yeah. But I have milkshakes in other countries.
Yeah, not the end bit when you're drinking your milkshake.
I love milkshakes.
Yes.
I like a good vanilla malted milkshake on a nice hot day.
Yeah, I think that's about everything I could think of on top of my head.
Hey, what's that on top of your head? No, sorry, hair. No,
so because I can't think of anything else, otherwise I probably would start complaining about something.
I wouldn't complain about the movie. Like I said, it was a low budget movie, and I think it was done by a first timer.
Yes.
So I'd stand up and say, great, good job, but had some limitations. I can only give it a 7 though. Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yes. Yes.
What are you going to give it?
I think I'm going to give it a 7.5.
Oh, you're
out
nice.
of 10.
Yeah. And they did a good job. If it's independent and no one had any real skills, I won't say talent, because I mean everyone gave it a go, and they tried to make a movie.
Yeah, if there was if they were making more of these ones, they would have gotten more practice.
Well, yeah, the next movie would have been better if there was next movie the next year or something or other. Yeah. But this one took 4 years ago from filming to being released. They're saying, "Hello, are you taking this seriously?" I mean, there wasn't much in it to edit.
True.
You know, honestly, there wasn't any special effects and stuff to get in there, and the audio was pretty crappy. So what did you edit over the 4 years? Or were you just finding some place who would put it on for you? I don't know. But there's something there's no energy behind it. I think that's what's missing in the movie. Not atmosphere, it's energy.
Yeah, the energy.
Everyone's just going through the motions, but I didn't feel any energy coming out of it.
Yeah, I mean, it was pretty much from Viola's point of view, and her life sounds very boring as well. She's an ordinary girl. Don't get me wrong.
Nice little country girl, probably come from the suburbs or country town or something or other. Yada yada yada. A little girl meets a big city and everything goes wrong, but still, there's no energy in any of the people. They're just, I'm going to be playing a girl from the country or the suburbs. I'm going to play a vampire. I'm going to play the girl she meets.
Yeah.
But there's no synergy or whatever. There's a word for it. There's no electricity, there's no magic, there's nothing's happening on it.
Yeah.
Like a vacuum.
Yeah.
Which is a shame because it had potential to be better.
True. So, well, I guess that's about it for us tonight.
Yeah.
So, thanks for listening to this last podcast episode, guys. We'll see you guys next time.
I'm not going to see anybody next time.
Well, we'll talk to you guys next time.
Aha.
So, this is Sarah Stephenson.
And on the other one, Michael.
Yes, the Hunchback of Notre Dame.
I'm the bald one, and she got the hair. You know.
So anyway, this is Sarah Stephenson saying, "See you around."
Bye.